The South Wind by Lord Dunsany. Two players sat down to play a game together to while eternity away, and they chose the gods as pieces wherewith to play their game, and for their board of playing they chose the sky from rim to rim, whereon lay a little dust, and every speck of dust was a world upon the board of playing. And the players were robed and their faces veiled, and the robes and veils were alike, and their names were Fate and Chance. And as they played their game, and moved the gods hither and thither about the board, the dust arose and shone in the light from the players' eyes that gleamed behind the veils. Then said the gods, "See how we stir the dust." It chanced, or was ordained, who knoweth which, that Ord, a prophet, one night saw the gods as they strode knee-deep among the stars. But as he gave them worship, he saw the hand of a player, enormous over their heads, stretched out to make his move. Then Ord the prophet knew. Had he been silent, it might have still been well with Ord. But Ord went about the world, crying out to all men, "There is a power over the gods!" This the gods heard. Then said they, "Ord hath seen." Terrible is the vengeance of the gods, and fierce were their eyes when they looked on the head of Ord and snatched out of his mind all knowledge of themselves. And that man's soul went wandering afield to find for itself gods, forever finding them not. Then out of Ord's dream of life the gods plucked the moon and the stars, and in the night time he only saw black sky and saw the lights no more. Next the gods took from him, for their vengeance resteth not, the birds and butterflies, flowers and leaves and insects, and all small things. And the prophet looked on the world that was strangely altered, yet knew not of the anger of the gods. Then the gods sent away his familiar hills to be seen no more by him, and all the pleasant woodlands on their summits, and the further fields. And in a narrower world Ord walked round and round, now seeing little, and his soul still wandered searching for some gods, and finding none. Lastly, the gods took away the fields and a stream, and left to the prophet only his house and the larger things that were in it. Day by day they crept about him, drawing films of mist between him and familiar things, till at last he beheld naught at all, and was quite blind and unaware of the anger of the gods. Then Ord's world became only a world of sound, and only by hearing he kept his hold upon things. All the profit that he had out of his days was here some song from the hills, or there the voice of the birds, and sound of the stream, or the drip of the falling rain. But the anger of the gods ceases not with the closing of flowers, nor is it assuaged by the winter's snows, nor doth it rest in the full glare of summer. And they snatched away from Ord one night his world of sound, and he awoke deaf. But as a man may smite away the hive of the bee, and the bee with all his fellows builds again, knowing not what hath smitten his hive, or that it shall smite again, so Ord built for himself a world out of old memories, and set it in the past. There he builded himself cities out of former joys, and therein built palaces of mighty things achieved, and with his memory as a key he opened golden locks, and had still a world to live in, though the gods had taken from him the world of sound and all the world of sight. But the gods tire not from pursuing, and they seized his world of former things, and took his memory away, and covered up the paths that led into the past, and left him blind and deaf and forgetful among men, and caused all men to know that this was he who once had said that the gods were little things. And lastly, the gods took his soul, and out of it they fashioned the south wind, to roam the seas for ever, and not have rest. And well the south wind knows that he hath once understood somewhere and long ago, and so he moans to the islands, and cries along southern shores, "I have known, and I have known." But all things sleep when the south wind speaks to them, and none heed his cry that he hath known, but are rather content to sleep. But still the south wind, knowing that there is something that he hath forgotten, goes on crying, I have known, seeking to urge men to arise and to discover it. But none heed the sorrows of the south wind, even when he driveth his tears out of the south, so that though the south wind cries on, and never findeth rest, none heed that there is aught that may be known, and the secret of the gods is safe. But the business of the south wind is with the north, and it is said that the time will one day come when he shall overcome the bergs, and sink the seas of ice, and come where the secret of the gods is graven upon the pole. And the game of fate and chance shall suddenly cease, and he that loses shall cease to be or ever to have been. And from the board of playing, fate or chance, who knoweth which shall win, shall sweep the gods away.